Did you feel that? That is the heat of the sports card market, and it's getting hotter. And today, 5 of the hottest cards that's putting it over the top.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies. And at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love.
Sports card investors, and welcome to another episode. Wow, there is so much happening in the world of sports this week, and it is good for sports card investors right now. You, of course, have the NFL in full swing. We're inching towards the playoffs. There's lots of exciting things happening this NFL season. But you got the NBA. The NBA is really where the heat and action is this week, with the NBA draft taking place Wednesday night. We've got free agency. We've got trade rumors that are beginning to swirl. All kinds of big name players out there and trade rumors right now. And we got the start of the season only a month away. And these things are all great for basketball card prices. And we're already seeing it. I did an episode a couple of days ago over the weekend on Sunday where I examined the recent price movements of a whole bunch of different basketball cards, and I showed how they are all really starting to tick up again. Go check out that episode if you haven't already, but it's good stuff, and you just might see a couple of NBA players as a result in this week's top 5, which we are about to jump into. Also, during the NBA draft, I am going live with my Market Mover members for a members-only live stream. We're going to be reacting live to the draft. We're also going to be playing NBA draft trivia and giving away tons of cards for free to the members. If you are not yet a Market Mover, sign up before 8 p.m. Wednesday, and you will get the invite to that special NBA draft members only live stream. You can go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on Market Movers in the main menu to check it all out. All right, let's jump into the top 5 this week. We've got some exciting stuff, and we are going to start with the only undefeated team in the National Football League, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have been beyond impressive this season. I don't think anyone thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to be 9-0, but they are. And there's a lot of players who have done really well that have contributed to that. But in the last 3 weeks, perhaps none more than Juju Smith-Schuster. He has had one heck of a 3-week run, 22 catches over the last 3 weeks, and he has really helped propel Pittsburgh. He has regained that connection with Ben Roethlisberger, and I will tell you, Juju was a little overshadowed for the first half of the season by the rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool, and even by the second-year wide receiver Deontay Johnson. They both came out having great seasons, and people were expecting Juju to be the top receiver for Pittsburgh, but he wasn't. But now perhaps he is again. That is good news for me. I'm very familiar with Juju. I am a big Juju fan because he has been on my Dynasty fantasy football team ever since I drafted him as a rookie back in 2017. So I'm happy that he is getting back to his productive ways again. And those of you who own his cards are happy as well, because this is the graph of his 2017 Prism Silver card in PSA 10. It is up a healthy 24% over the last 30 days. Now, there are not many sales of this card, mainly because this is a very low population count card, only a PSA population of 261. So this is a low population card. So not a lot of sales, but nonetheless, the recent sales have been strong. This card sold back in October for about $100. It was consistently selling for around that level throughout October. And the most recent sales have been around $125. So a nice little bump. And of course, if Pittsburgh continues their magic and they continue this run and perhaps run towards the Super Bowl this year, then you know Juju is going to have to play a big part of that, and that could mean good things for his card prices continuing in the weeks ahead. All right, for our number 4 guy this week, we are turning to the NBA, and we are talking about one of the more intriguing guys in the bubble, a guy who's been very hot and cold, and the sports card investor world has been excited about him ever since he was a rookie in 2018, yet because of a lot of injury, people really haven't fully known what he was capable of. And I'm still not sure we fully know what Michael Porter Jr. is able to do. But people are excited that maybe this year in his third year in the league, coming into the year healthy, hopefully, maybe this year is the year that he starts to show consistency. In the bubble, he showed some flashes, but he also had some down games as well. Maybe he'll show the type of consistency this year that people are excited about with Michael Porter Jr. And you can see that as we are getting closer to the start of the season, his card prices are really starting to run up. I mean, look at this last couple of weeks that Michael Porter Jr.'s 2018 Prism Silver PSA 10 card has had. I mean, this was a card that going back to the beginning of November was $650. It had pretty consistently been selling around that number for the last couple of months. And the card most recently sold for $922. And I will tell you that is not just a fluke. By the way, that is a 40% increase. Nice increase over the last 30 days. But I will tell you that is not a fluke because what we're seeing here with Michael Porter Jr.'s cards is the same type of pattern we're seeing with a lot of modern basketball cards right now. As the season gets closer, these guys who, especially the people who have the potential for this to be a breakout type of season for them, they're the ones who are seeing a lot of heat around their card prices right now, Michael Porter Jr. being one of those guys. All right, our number 3 guy on the list, we're going back to football, and we're going back to one of the most intriguing wide receivers in terms of ability. But man, he has had, as you know, a litany of offseason problems. Is he past that? Is he returning to greatness? He's coming off of a really good game. His connection with Tom Brady appears strong. I am talking about Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, our number 3 guy on the list this week. Now, I mentioned Antonio Brown a few weeks ago when he was first signed by Tampa Bay, that his cards spiked right after that signing with Tampa Bay. And you can see that here. This is his 2010 score rookie card in PSA 10. And you can see that spike that occurred. His card prices almost doubled overnight. They did double overnight when he was signed by Tampa Bay. Since that point in time, they've remained relatively flat. They're still much higher than they were before he was signed, but relatively flat overall. However, he's just coming off a game this past Sunday where he caught 7 passes. He started to look his former self. Tom Brady seems to have a real connection with this guy. Apparently, this guy's even living with Tom Brady in Tampa. Have you heard this? They're like roommates now. He's like hanging out at Tom Brady's house. He's actually crashing on the couch. I don't know, but that's got to be good, right? And so it's going to be really interesting to see where this card can go in the weeks ahead. If this connection can continue, watch out. This thing will continue to progress upwards. This is a fairly low population card, a population count of 415. And so it will be interesting to watch this card continue to press upward if that connection with Tom Brady can stay strong. All right, for our number 2 card this week, we are going with the NBA player who really led the comeback of the basketball card market over the last 45 days. It was this player's cards that really started to trend up first out of every single modern basketball player. About 45 days ago, this player's card started to trend up. And then it was in the couple of weeks after that the rest of modern basketball players started to trend up after him. Who is leading the pack? Do you know who it is? It's an exciting second-year player. Well, actually, he'll be a third-year player this year. An exciting player from the 2018 draft class, but not the guy you might think. It's not Luka. Instead, it's his counterpart, Trey Young. Trey Young has had the most heat over the last 2 months in terms of a modern basketball player and his cards going up in value. There has been more investor interest around Trey Young than any other recent modern basketball player. And why not? This guy averaged almost 30 points a game last year as a sophomore in the NBA, as well as almost 10 assists per game. He's an incredible player. He's capable of dropping 50 any night. being here in Atlanta, I've gotten the honor of watching him a lot of times. I will also tell you that defensively, he's kind of a little bit of a revolving door. However, good news, sports card investors and collectors don't seem to care about defense. We care about offense. We want 3-point shots. We want the ball being shot from half court and going in the hoop. And Trey Young can deliver on that. And that is why his cards have really gone up as people are anticipating this season. This is Trey Young's 2018 Prism base card in PSA 10. I'm going back in this graph back to October the 7th, which was the low point of this card. In October the 7th, you could have bought that card for $386. Today, this card's all the way up at $603. That's a 56% increase over the course of the last 40 days or so. And by the way, there are a ton of these cards that have been sold. 225 cards have been sold in the last 40 days. So this is not just one or two freak sales. This is a really consistent trend line of Trey Young's cards going up and up and up, and Trey Young leading the way. And in fact, if we look at other variations of Trey Young's cards, whether it's other sets or other variations of his Prism cards, we're going to see a similar pattern. So just to illustrate this, here within Market Movers, we track a ton of different sets. You can see here all of the different sets we track for Trey Young, for example. And if we select his 2018 Prism, look at all the different variations we're also tracking within Market Movers. So let's look, for example, let's look at his base. Let's look at his green. Let's look at his silver. Let's look at his red, white, and blue. Those are some of the more popular variations of Trey Young cards. And let's look at both PSA 10 and PSA 9. We can track all these different grades as well, by the way. So let's look at a graph with all of those different cards, and we're going to switch to the percentage change graph so you can see how much these cards have gone up during this period. The 0 line is right where my mouse is here. It's the double line is the 0% line. So what you can see is that all of these cards are up considerably over the course of the last 40 days. So it doesn't matter if you're in his Prism base or his Prism silver or his Prism red, white, and blue or his green. It doesn't matter if you're in his PSA 10 or his PSA 9. You're doing well. Your cards are all up considerably over the course of the last 40 days. By the way, the same is true with most of the other sets. I could have brought Select up on this graph. I could have brought Optic up on this graph, Contenders, Hoops, Mosaic, etc. And you're going to most likely see a fairly similar trend line with most of these sets in terms of how they're moving. Looking at this type of data, by the way, one of the awesome things about Market Movers, if you haven't checked out Market Movers yet, with the basketball card market heating up the way that it is, now is a really good time to consider it. And we've got Market Movers Lite available for half the price of Market Movers Pro. And you can see all of these graphs with Market Movers Lite. Go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on Market Movers in the main menu bar to check it out. Okay, it's time for this week's number one card. And we're going back to the NFL, and we are going to the hottest running back over the last month, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's numbers have been insane. He had a 2-game stretch a couple of games ago, 2 games, where he went for nearly 500 total yards and 6 touchdowns over the course of 2 games. This guy has been great. And of course, he's coming off of a year where he already was good. Last year, he rushed for over 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. Then he signed a big contract this offseason, a 5-year, $63 million contract. And man, is he delivering on that. He had 858 rushing yards, and that doesn't even include the game last night. These stats haven't been updated. He was also leading the league in rushing touchdowns with 12 rushing touchdowns, again, not including last night's game. So this guy has been leading the league this year, putting up impressive numbers, and the sports card hobby has taken notice. This is his 2017 Prism Silver card in PSA 10. A lot of really nice movement on this card over the last few weeks. This was a card that was pretty consistently in October, selling for $135, $140, $135 again. And this card most recently has been $228, $250, $225, a 52.5% overall increase over the course of the last 30 days. A very impressive showing for Dalvin Cook. He has been a bright spot indeed for Minnesota, a guy who is delivering on his contract promise and really putting up some outstanding numbers. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed our top 5 for this week. And of course, in previous episodes, you have heard me talk about the Virtual Sports Card Con 2020, which is coming up again, December 8th through the 10th. It is back and better than ever. Get your free ticket today. We are going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in giveaways right before the holidays. The timing could not be better. Become part of it. Get some giveaways, hopefully. Make your holidays merry and bright. Register right now for free, 100% for free. Go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on the virtual in the main menu bar. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Enjoy the NBA draft. I hope you have a great next couple of days. See you back in a few days with our next episode. Take care.